Hey there, it's Patmos and nice of you to join me for this brand new series with some Ostriv beginner guides. I'll be taking you over all the basic stuff that you need to know from Ostriv. We'll do that in a series of episodes. We're starting with the first one, which will basically evolve around the basics of the game and what you have to do in your first year. And then the next video will go about like year 2 to 5, something like that. And then I'm just going to work on a whole series explaining you all the different things that have to do with Ostriv. So let's start with the game. What is Ostriv? Ostriv is a city building game that plays in Ukraine, and it gives you a lot of freedom to just build a nice town in an historic setting up in Ukraine. Now we're going to load up a brand new game. We're going to play on map 2 this time. And we're just going to see here that we have the game. Now, one of the first things that is really important is that you immediately hit the pause button. Why is that important? Well, it's not clear now, but you will see soon, as soon as we place the base camp, that we have a limited amount of time to build a couple of houses for the families that we're starting with. Now, we're going to get to that soon, but it's just very important that you hit that pause button straight off. So do that. Now let's take a little look at the map that we have here. As we can see, there are some hills, some slopes. Here are some deposits with iron ore. So we have some basic resources on the map. We can already see trees and stuff. And of course, there's still a lot that we have to discover. Now, if you're wondering what these white patches are, this is the last snow that is going away. In December, January and February, there's a lot of snow on the map. On the other months, that will go away. So here we can see it going away. And you will see that by the end of November, the snow will start to fall and the land will start to get white. And then in the winter months, it's completely covered in white areas. Now, if we take a look at this map and we look here, we can see that there's a river flowing all through the map, cutting this map in two. That's already important, but as we can see here, this area is inaccessible. We can't start in this whole front area because there's no way for the immigrants. That's what this big game is all about. There's a group of immigrants coming here wanting to settle the town. They can't start here, so we have to start on this side of the map. You can see now here we can place a camp. So on either map that you are playing on, and we can see all the maps here, there's a river here, so there's only one side you can start on. On some maps, you even have more sides, like these little islands here. You can't start on them. You have to start on one side. That also makes it that one map is harder than the other. If you start on map 9, you have to start on this top island, where it's a lot of forests, a little building room, and you have to start building bridges at some point to get across. So not all maps are as easy as you think. Some are easier, some are harder. But this is the map that we are going to start on. Now, how do we get started in this game? Well, basically the game evolves around a group of immigrants, basically 9 families, that will start to work on getting a new life somewhere. And we have to set up that basic camp. Now, of course, you can imagine in 1721, wood and lumber is important, so we have to start working close to some of those trees so we can actually use that wood for housing. Now there's a big forest up here. You can see this red line, that's the border of the map. I'm at this corner right now, so that's the border of the map. We can't go outside of that. Here goes the border. So here we have some building space. Here we have a bit of building space. So as you can already see, we don't have a lot of building space. And because of these elevations, we can't build everywhere. See, this is too uneven terrain. We can't start the camp there. So what we're going to do is we're going to start the camp somewhere out right here. Now there's some elevation here, but still it's good enough to start our camp. So there we go. We now started. Now it's still not time to unpause the game because we have to set some basic things up. For instance, we have to build a forestry for wood production. Now, in order to make this game a success, there are a few goals that we have to meet. And basically this game gives you a lot of freedom. You can do a lot of stuff on your own, how you want it to be. But there's a few things we have to do, and one of them is to make sure that all these families that live in these houses in these tents get a house before the winter. Any family that does not have a house when the winter comes will leave your town and will make it quite a bit harder to actually build a growing, prosperous town. Now, besides all the tents the people live in, we have a resource stack, we have some wood, we also have a storage here with some thatch, some nails and some iron. We get 3 carts in a cart parking that the villagers can use to transport goods a bit more efficient. They have a few sitting places here. They have a campfire that doesn't really do anything. It's just there for aesthetics. We have a well that will provide this family with water. And we have a town hall, a camp center basically, where the most builders will work. So from there on, can start to build stuff. Now, if we click on a tent, we will see that this family comes with a certain amount of food and water, some firewood. So they will be good for a while, but we have to start working on getting the town ready. Now, the first thing we need, of course, is wood. And it already tells you that. So we have to build a forestry somewhere. Now, you can imagine if I built the forestry right here, every time they want to get a tree chopped down and bring it in to process into wood or firewood or whatever, they have to do quite a bit of walking. So basically what we want to do is get this as close as we can to the forest so that they can start working on it. But also not too far from the camp so that the workers that go there to work but will rest and relax and eat at their tent also don't have to walk too far. That's why I'm starting it right here. So we're going to put this up here. Now, there's a couple of things you can do. It's right down here in this little box. So if we hold shift and we click, we can build multiple buildings. We can rotate it with the R and 2 buttons, and you can see that goes in quite big steps. If you hit Control and then hit the R and T keys, you can see that the movement goes slower for some more precise movement. So you can basically place buildings any way you want them. And the fun thing about this game, it is not a grid builder, so you can just place buildings in any shape, form you want them to. We hit the F button, it just rotates around, so you can just make a 90-degree turn. Now we're going to place this building right there, and now we have the forestry up. It says it's looking for builders. That's because we have paused the game. There's no builders in here yet. And it's already looking for 5 builders, and we have a mayor. If we look up here, we can see that we have 18 adults in our town, 19 men and 9 men and 9 women. Those are the workforce. But we have 28 people, and this only adds up to 18. Well, that's true. That means that we have 9 kids in our town as well. So that's nice. We can see a break up here of everything. So we have 28 people. We have 10 kids, actually. 18 adults and 10 children. 5 males, 5 females. So that's already a good start, I think. We have 1 villager working. That's the mayor. All the rest is not working yet. But we're not going to unpause yet because we're going to set up some more things that we need. Because if we want to build a house, you can see we need wood, we need nails, we need clay, and we need thatch. Now we have thatch and nails in here. The wood we're going to get from this place, and we have some stored here. But you can see we have 11,000 stored in here. And we already need 7,400 for this building, so we need to build this first. If we build a house first, we might not have enough wood for the forestry afterwards. But we're also gonna need some clay from somewhere because we don't have any. Now you can already see green dots appearing and red dots appearing. On the red dots there is no clay. On the green dots there is clay. That's where we can place the clay pit. Now what I like to do is keep these two close together because this is where all the main resources come from. So we'll just build a clay pit right there. They actually have to build the clay pit. So it takes a bit for them to do that. So it will be second up in the building queue and they can get going with that. Now, since we have 9 men and we have basically no jobs for everybody, I'm going to put as many in here as possible. This will add up to 7. 1 is the mayor, that's 8. So we still have 1 guy without a job, but that's okay. At least everybody that can and is able to will be able to work. Now, basically, once these buildings are done, we have everything we need to start constructing housing. So I'm going to unpause for now. We're going to hit speed 2 and make sure that these 2 buildings get constructed. And then we see what the next mission is, which is supposed to be building the houses. And we forwarded a little bit, and I've paused the game again. The forester and the clay pit are now both done, and they can be used. Now, we don't have to do anything with the clay pit. People that are builders will go there and collect the clay that they need for buildings themselves, but we have to put a labor force into the forester. Now, what I like to do is I like to put 4 people in there. Why is that? Well, because I want them to start chopping a lot of trees and get a surplus of trees. Later on, if we need more builders, for instance, we can then take people out and have them in the builder force as well. But I want to get like a stockpile of wood, because right now, if we take a look here, we only have 3,600 wood. And just a single house will already cost us 4,200. So we don't even have wood for one house. So I want to get the wood production up for a little bit. We can also now see that we have to build houses for all families in the camp before winter comes. And families that still live in a tent are now 9. And we're going to need those 9 houses before November. Now we're not even a quarter or halfway into March. So within a half a month we have built these 2 places. So now we should keep planning ahead. We should have 1 man without a job. Yes, 1 is looking for a job. So if we take 3 guys out of here, they should be the ones that get in here and fill all these jobs. They will start chopping trees. And now it's up to us to start planning some housing. Now, a good thing is, here we have all the houses we can build. Let's go over them and see what they all do. Now, here we have a house, a village house with a garden. It has a certain size and it has a garden in it. And during March, or during April and May, not during March, during April and May, the people that live there will start to sow in their gardens with vegetables and fruits and stuff that they will be able to eat. So if you build a house with a garden, basically these people will produce their own food. Depending on the size of the garden, they will be able to produce enough food just for themselves, or if you make it a very small garden, not even enough for themselves, but they produce some food. If you give them a very big garden, there is a maximum size to it, but if you give them a very big garden, they will be able to produce not only food for themselves, but also for other villagers. Now, another house that we can build is just a plain house. There's no garden around it. Of course, we can build ourselves a custom garden with that, because we have decorations, we have fencing, and we have trees, we have bushes, we have some benches here. So we can build them a custom garden that we just design ourselves, but they won't be able to grow anything in it. So if you want to have an area where there's just a lot of people living and you can provide them food from different sources and they don't have to grow their own, then this is a very good option to have. Otherwise, it could be very good to have them grow their own crops. Now, we also have different types of row houses with 2 floors, with 3 floors, but you can already see we need stones for it, we need bricks for it, we need lime for it, we need glass windows for it. So this will be something for way later in the game. I'll cover that in another part of this beginner series, but that won't be for now. So basically we have to choose between the village house and the village garden house. An important thing to note here is that there is no price difference. If you build just a village house or a village garden house, there should not be too much of a price difference. I'm going to just place them. We'll see that the house without a garden, they won't cost exactly what they say here, because every time you place a house, it will look a little different. So if we build these 2, we can already see that there's a difference in amount of nails and amount of wood and amount of clay that they use. But it will be close to the number it says right there. Now, if we go to this one, we can see it costs slightly more wood than these 2. A few more nails, but not that much. There is hardly any difference. And building a house like this, or even one where we max out the garden, I will show you soon how you can actually do that, but I just want to start this right now so we can see the pricing difference. Too long. This is not too long. Let's go. Let's see. Oh, it's complaining about too long. That's not supposed to happen already. All right, there we go. That's better. Now let's make this as big as possible, or at least until we see the too long sign again. There we go. Let's go all the way here. It says too long. Let's go as wide as possible. There we are. Yeah, this is good. All right, now if we place this and we click it, we can see that this house costs less wood than that one. That's mainly because this is on a slope, so that needs some extra wood in the foundation. But this is actually the cheapest house for all that we've placed so far. But this one has an amazingly big garden, so it can provide us with a lot of food. Now, if you demolish these houses, you have to unpause for a second before they will actually go away. So we're going to do that soon. So these should all go. Let's unpause for a second so that all these basic foundations go away. They're gone now. And now we can actually start to plan out some of the housing. Now, I suggest if you are beginning with this, you start off with a couple of large garden houses. Why is that? Well, I'm going to place them here and explain on the go. If you build these large garden houses and you actually make them the maximum size possible, they should be able to feed at least 10 adults, usually a little over that, but it varies a little bit from year to year. So if you build 3 houses like this, they should provide enough food for 30 adults. Right now we have only 18 adults and we have 10 kids, but kids only eat half the amount of food that an adult does. So if we build 3 big garden houses, we will have enough food for the village to survive for quite some time. So we don't have to invest in any other food sources. So this is a very good thing to go on if you want to build a successful village and you're not sure how well that goes, you're a beginner to this game, go for some bigger houses. Now, good thing to know is you can still rotate stuff in here, so if you want to do that, you can do that. I always keep the house a bit close to the entrance, because there will be a path from the entrance to the entrance of the house. The longer you make it, the more pathing there is inside this area, so less ground for crops, and I want as much crops as possible, so we'll build the house right here. Now, how do I do the custom house area? Well, that's pretty easy. You just pick the house, you put it down, and you hit the F1 button. If you hit that, you see all these white dots arrive, and now we can just move them one by one in the way we want them, in the area we want them. We can also see uneven terrain, but that just goes for the house. So if we move the house away from there, see, we can still just build it. And this will be our second big garden house. That means that the workers here will gather wood. That will bring that to the house until all the construction materials are there, and then they will start to build. So this is all very close, short walking distances, and that makes it so that they have plenty of time to actually build these houses. All right, let's move on to the third village garden house. Now, what I want to do here is this will be slightly further away from the rest of the village. So what we're going to do right now, we're just going to place this entrance on the side, so it's still quite a short way from the place that we see there. Oh, this is a bit too long, so we have to move this a bit, then we can make this the longest length. Sometimes it's a bit like you have to do trial and error, see how far you can actually go. Too long. Oh, that's okay. All right, we'll build this like that. Then we have 3 big garden houses up and running, hopefully soon. Now you can see that there's 1 tree that needs to be removed. That's no problem, because the people working in here will gather that tree as one of the first ones. They will remove it, and then we can also build that. Well, we have set up 3 big garden houses. That's only 3 of the 9 houses that we need, so we have to invest in more housing. Now what I like to do is keep everything real close so that they can really build up this area quickly. If we're going to go all the way here, that might not be close enough, so we might end up with too long distance that they have to walk all the time. That will take a lot of time off their building time, because of course if they're walking with resources, they're not building at that time. So I try to keep the houses as close as possible. And of course, we don't have to just go for the biggest housing we can get. We can also just go for slightly bigger gardens, so that we make sure that they produce at least enough food for themselves, and we can still make this a fun town. Now, with these gardens, it is not possible to have more than 4 corners on the gardens. You can still make it the way you want, so if you want some fun shapes, you can do that. We're going to go for some squares now, but later on we'll do different shapes. But maybe in a future update we will get some options with that too, so that we can make more different areas. That would be nice. Or maybe get more of these corner points so we can make other shapes for the garden. But for now, this is just it. So we hit the F1, we place everything, then we hit enter. And now we're going to build some extra housing again. I'm going to make a row of 3 this time. I think that will be fun. Let's make this slightly bigger. And then we'll have 6 houses planned, so that's good. I think I like that. I think we can unpause right now and already get going with the first house. Now, another tip is only play at speed 2 in the beginning. Speed 1 is fine too, it just takes a long time because the game is not that fast on speed 1. See, the walking goes pretty fast. But don't go to speed 2. There's still a little bug at speed 2 where time will run faster than their actual actions. So if you set this up and you build this on speed 2, they might be done like in July or something. And if you play the same thing at speed 3, they might just be done in August or even later. So there is a problem with that. So only go for speed 2. That'll speed things up. Here we can see somebody taking a cart, picking up resources, bringing it to the first house to be built. So that's a great job. We can see the foresters going to that 1 tree that is in the way. It's gone now. And now this house can be built as well, so that's a good job. All right, we have a couple of trees here. They will take them and they will turn them into the different resources that we tell them. We're not producing any bark yet because we don't need it. And you can just slide these to set it to a certain number that you want. Now, I want a lot of firewood, a lot of wood, and a lot of logs, so we'll leave those at maximum. We don't need bark yet, so we're not going to do that. Of course, the people need firewood, and they can buy it from the forester if you leave it in there, and they need it to make sure that they can heat their tents, so that's, and to cook and stuff, so that's good. We need that. And now, oh, we can see that they're already buying some firewood, so villagers go there and they actually buy some firewood. See, these got some firewood, so that's a great thing. And now these guys will just be going out and about collecting trees. Now you can already see this guy is now taking a rest. So they're not just working all the time. They also need to eat. They also take rest. If you have a marketplace, sometimes they will have to go there to buy food and stuff. So making the traveling distances short in the beginning, also for them just take a rest and go back to work, can really speed up everything. So we can also now see there's nobody building here, because then either they're all taking a rest and one is supplying resources first. Now we can see now that all the resources are collected, so they will now really start to build this house. And if you have never done that, take the time to take a look at how they build such a house, because these graphics are amazing. You can see right here, they're really taking all the bits and pieces. They're now putting up the framework for the foundation. They will fill this up with clay at some point so that you really get the foundation. See, there they go. For the walls, this is just so amazing. I just really love the graphics in this game. They've done so well. So if you have the time for that, take a look at that. Now we have something else to do, because we only have planned 6 houses so far, so we need a couple more. Now I would like to go with some extra just garden houses. Now, if we place them right here on the back side, for instance, we have to remove a lot of trees, and that's probably not the best option. So what I'm going to do right now, to actually make a great mix of houses, we're just going to build 3 of these houses without a garden. Which is interesting, and it also comes with some challenges, but I think we can meet those challenges. So let's see, we need some space for a road here so that they can go all this way, so we'll leave some space here. But here we're going to go build the first house. And then we're going to build a second house. And then we are going to build a third house. And actually, I'm also going to already, if we can, but there's uneven terrain, so that makes it hard. So yeah, we can't build a house here apparently, because I would love to build another house here. So, ooh, place occupied, uneven terrain. Yeah, that's always the struggle. But I also want to place already an extra house for immigration. So there it is. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 houses planned. And there they are building the houses. We can see that these guys already have collected 5 logs. Number 6 is incoming, so these are doing a great job. We already have more wood than we actually set, so that's great. We have more firewood than we've actually set already. So those things are all working out. And as soon as these have like 12 trees or something, I will take 2 of these people out, get them to also help out with the building crew so the houses get done faster, because I think that'll be a great addition. And it will also ensure that we will never run out of wood at some point. Now they're all taking a rest. It's good that they all do that at the same time, because that means that they all will arrive here at the same time as well, and so they can start chopping. You always need 2 people to actually chop a tree and carry a log inside. So without 2 people in it, they can't get new logs. That's an interesting thing to keep in mind. So please put 2 people in there if you still have to chop logs. Now, of course, if you have a big pile of logs here, you can go with 1 for a while, because that 1 can still make wood and firewood. It just can't carry in new logs, but that can be okay for a bit. Now here we go to this house. Look at this. It's coming along nicely. They're putting in the last pieces, and now the house is done. So what will happen now is somebody will grab a cart soon. They will grab their belongings from their tent, and they will start to move into this house. We can already see that the lady of the house is sowing in the gardens. So hopefully at the end of this year, we'll get a nice bit of produce from their gardens, which will be nice. Lots of veggies and fruits. So this looks good. You can really see they sow in all the land, so that works out great. Now the mail is there. I still see all the tents, so there's no cart available right now to pick up and make sure that he can collect all the stuff from the tent. So he's taking a rest now, but as soon as there's a cart available, he will pick over everything up and go there. And here we see that they just need to collect a bit of thatch, and then they are done with all the stuff that they need in here. So hopefully soon, they're still picking up some clay and wood as well, but everything is about to be picked up and brought here, so then they can really start to build this. These guys already have 16 logs in there, so I'm going to take these 2 people out, put them in the building crew. As soon as they're done taking a rest, they will join this crew. See, there they are. And now we have 2 extra builders. We go from 4 to 6, which should speed up the whole production of this structure. Quite good. Alright, we still see that none of the tents is being removed yet, so the guys are still busy bringing the resources there. And he is working now, so that's good. He is actually the mayor, so that's nice. And as soon as there are carts available, he should be just getting his tent. Maybe we can find the tent that they actually lived in. Yep, this one. He will grab the stuff. There he comes. He will grab the tent and take all their belongings into the house, and then it's done. This tent is now removed. And we also only need to build 8 more houses now. Well, they're busy with the next one, so that's going well. You can already see they delivered some stuff here too. That's another amazing feat. And from here on, we should just try and get all the houses done, except the last one. We're not going to build that one yet. So let's make a little jump in time to see the last house that we need getting finished. And here we are back. We can see that 8 houses are constructed. It is August. The last house is underway. It's over halfway done. So soon enough we'll have our 9 houses. Well, before the winter that actually starts on the 1st of December. So that's quite good. But we also see that we already have no task built the thatchery, because there's only 190 thatch left. Now this house has everything, so we can finish that, but we are starting to run out of resources, and that's part of the whole thing of this game. You have enough resources if you build the forester and the clay pit to build the 9 houses, so you don't have to build anything else. This is basically all you need to do to get started. But what after the 9 houses? Well, that's what we're going to get to now, because we can see we have all the iron. We're not using it because we need a certain production building to do that. We are down to only 500 nails and that little bit of thatch. So we have to get going, making sure that our town can have all the production materials we need for more housing. So as soon as this house is done, which is almost there, we're going to do what we always do with these things. We're going to hit the pause button. It's done. Let's pause the game. So here we are, the end of August. We have our 9 houses up. Now it's time to get working on the first industries that we are going to need. Now, one thing we're going to need is the thatchery. You will find it on the 2nd tab, and it dries reed for roofed thatching. Now they have to go to the river for this. And if we zoom out, we can see there's no water here. There's water here, and there's water here. So we can take that into account when placing the building. Now the good thing is we don't need a huge amount of thatch all the time. So if we build basically a stockpile place for later on, and we can stockpile some thatch, we will be good. But for now, I want to make sure that we get good amounts of thatch in. So I'm actually going to place this somewhere closer to the river. It will incur a traveling distance, but I'm okay with that. I don't really mind that they have to travel quite far to actually get the thatch. So we're going to place this somewhere here so that it is somewhat close to the river. Now we can see that these patches here, that's where they will get their thatch from. That's the reed that's growing there, so they'll be nice. So let's build a thatchery right here. That's one of the industries we're going to get. Now we're going to move this over in the queue. You can easily move stuff in the queue because we want those industries up first. Right now we have only 190 thatch. We're going to need 420 to finish this house, so we can't even finish that yet. That's one of the industries that we're going to need in the beginning. Another one is a smithy. That's where your iron comes in. We need to make new nails and other stuff, materials, so that we can keep our town going and growing. Now the smithy will be a little bit of generating a little bit of pollution. So building that close to houses is not the best idea. It's quite okay to keep it quite further out so that it can just perform its tasks without making people sick. Because I placed the smithy right here. If we click a person, we can actually see they have a health bar. And the lower that gets, the more prone they are to get sick, and they will eventually die. if we don't treat their sickness, and we have no way of treating their sickness for a long time, so keep these buildings a bit away from the people. Now, if you build the smithy, you can't see it yet because we can't see the building. You can always hit the help and you can see what it needs, and it needs charcoal to produce some actual stuff. So for that we need a charcoal pile where firewood will be burned to be charcoal. Now what I actually would like to do is build 2 charcoal piles so that if one is filled up with firewood and it's burning to turn into charcoal, they can use the other one already. So we're going to build not only 1, but we're going to build 2. Now they'll have to remove a tree for that, but that's fine. How does this work? We have the charcoal pile. It uses laborers, so you don't really put workers in there. Only laborers can do this. They will gather the firewood, put it in here. Once it's filled up to 10,000 firewood, it will start burning. And after a while, you have somewhere between 8,000, 8,500 charcoal for the smithy and other structures to be used. Now, a great thing about this, everybody can fill this up. So both men, women and children. Now, all the men are occupied, but we have a lot of ladies not doing anything. We can see up here, there's 7 ladies looking for a job. Basically, there's 8 or 9 because we have 9 families. But apparently 2 are already doing something, or they're taking a rest or something like that. So we have a lot of work to do there. Oh, some might actually also soon start the harvest. So this will be looking for laborers, and as soon as we unpause, you see there all the ladies come and they will start to fill this up with firewood. They have to make a couple of runs to fill it up, then this will start to burn some charcoal, so that's good. Now we're going to move the house back all the way because we won't be building that anytime soon. We need the thatchery and the smithy. Now there's one more very important industry that we need in the beginning, and that is the carpentry. Because it repairs the carts that we have, it makes wagons and it makes plows. If we take a look at our carts, we can see by the green bar that they're actually wearing off slowly. They're still good, but they're slowly wearing off. We need a carpenter to actually repair them, but also to make more carts so that all of the transportation around our town will go more efficiently. We'll dive into the whole transportation thing later, but now I really want to get a carpenter going. Now, it doesn't really matter where we build it. I'm just going to place it right here. They'll have to remove 1 tree, but that's fine. And here we have the most basic constructions of industry that we need. We need the thatchery for the thatch roofs. We need the smithy to make us nails so that we can build housing. And we need the carpenter to maintain the carts and even build us more so that we can keep all the building of houses and other constructions going. So I'm going to unpause now. We're going to make this all happen now. And we'll see that as soon as the builders have the time, they're already supplying some resources here, so they will continue with that. But as soon as they have the time, they will start to collect these goods, deliver them over here, and we will build that thatchery. Now, one other thing we can already see right now. Oh, there goes the charcoal pile. Look at that. They're already filling this up nicely. All the ladies are at work here, and maybe even some of the kids will join in and help out. Can we find a kid? I think this is a kid. Oh no, it's 26. Sometimes it's a bit hard to see, but there could already be ladies' kits and boys' kits helping out filling the charcoal pile. Now it's filled up. You will see it's lightning. It's lighted, sorry. You can see it smoking. That's where the bad stuff comes in. And this will slowly burn out to become charcoal. That's why it can be good to have 2 or even more charcoal pits, because this takes time. And if you want a productive town, you want the smithy to keep going and never run out of charcoal. So there should also always be enough charcoal in town for stuff to be produced. And later on we'll find more production buildings that will need some actual charcoal. So it will be very good to get multiple of these going so that they can make sure that there's always charcoal ready. As soon as this tree is removed, we will see the rest of the ladies come in again, start filling that one up. So that'll be interesting. Another good thing to note is, for instance, in the forester, only men can work. So no ladies can work here. That means that some jobs are only for the men, like the forestry, but also the building jobs. Some jobs can be done by anybody, like the labor jobs. And some jobs might just be lady jobs, although we don't have them in the game yet, but that could be for later. It can also be wise then, since all the men will be working those jobs, to make sure that men don't do jobs that ladies can do as well. Because right now we have a shortage of men and we have plenty of ladies. So now that the thatchery is done, I'm going to tell them to only hire ladies. So that way I make sure that the men do all the important men jobs that they can only do, and the ladies can do these jobs. Now let's get some ladies hired in here, and they will be starting to gathering some thatch, which is very important, and I really like them to do that. So I hope they will go on their business quickly. There they come. First 3 going to work. They're all 4 coming already. Now they will get in, and then they will start to go to the river, collect the reeds that have to dry and be turned into thatch. So there they go. We can see that they can gather up to 2,000 reed, and they can also have 2,000 thatch in there. Now as soon as it starts to dry inside the building, it just takes a bit of time, and here we already have the first thatch. That's how fast that goes. So as long as you have the thatchery up, you will be able to get good amounts of reeds pretty quickly. So that should not halt your production for housing and stuff in any way. That can go really fast. Alright, we have the first charcoal pit up. We have the second one, but now we have only 5 ladies left, of course, that can fill it up. So that will take a little bit longer, but that's okay, we don't mind. And they are now busy getting the smithy ready. Luckily, this charcoal pile's almost done. So as soon as this is done and the smithy is ready, the smithy can collect the charcoal, can collect the iron from the storage, and it can go to work, make us more nails. For now, you might think, oh well, we have plenty of nails, 400. But a single house can already cost you up to 900 nails. And soon enough, we'll need another construction that will consume a lot of nails. We'll get to that as soon as both of these industries are ready. Now, another thing to note, people need to work here. We need a worker. Now, it's only a man's job. Again, laborers that supply it can be anybody, but the workers in here need to be men. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in 1 worker, and I'm going to remove 1 from the building crew. And now, as soon as he has finished his jobs, he took a rest, he will join this building and he will start to produce nails and metal parts. Again, we have a slider. We can say how much it should produce for everything. Metal parts are used by the carter to make the carts, so we need those metal parts soon, and we need a lot of nails. We are nowhere near having horses, so we don't need any horseshoes soon. So we'll leave that at 0. Now you can see the guy is picking up some iron. He wants to get going, and he picked it up here. Now he's on his way carrying the iron. There he goes. Now this charcoal pit is ready. 8,800 charcoal. He'll pick it up, and from here on out he will start to produce nails. There we go. He used 2 iron and he will produce 10 nails with that. Now we'll leave him to it. He can do us a great favor by making us lots of nails and metal parts. As we can see, the carpenter is built, and this building does not take very long usually, so that should be done quite soon, and that is great. Now what can we do with that? Well, we have only 3 carts right now, and they're in the middle of my town. I want them removed. So what we can build for now is a cart parking. It can hold up to 4 carts, which is great. That means that we'll have extra carts. I'll move these right here to close to the industries. Let's move that over from the house. And once that's done, we can actually move the carts from this place into the cart shed, or the cart parking basically. And we can add an extra cart to it. That means that we will have 4 carts that can be used to supply stuff in town, which will make our town more efficient. That's really nice. Now, of course, we have a need for a certain amount of metal parts. We don't have any metal parts yet. Oh, we have 1 now, so that will take some time. This person also needs to be a man, so keep that in mind. We'll start repairing before the vehicle is broken. We want that turned on. We will see here that the carts really start to wear out now, and we want them to be maintained. If they break down, they can't be used at all, so we want them repaired before they break down. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 1 worker in here. We take 1 of the building crew, so yes, building will go slightly slower, but that's okay, because for now we have to just set up all these basic industries. Another thing you can do is modify its supply. It has a storage. I'm going to pause the game now, by the way. It has a storage for up to 8,000 stuff. So what I like to do is bring in some extra wood, because it already costs you 1,500 wood for 1 cart. So the more he has in store, the faster he can produce. We can also tell who can supply it. Well, if a laborer has a cart, I want that to be supplying it to this. The carter and the wagoner we don't have yet, so I'm not going to do anything with that. And a handy tool, if you have more of the same building, if you do apply to all, these settings will apply to all buildings of that type. So just click that and all your carpentries will work the same way. So you don't have to go over like 3 or 4 carpenters If you get a carter and you want them to have that supply, you can just click this, apply to all, and they will all then use the carter to get their supplies. What the carter is, we'll get to later. Now we can see this one is empty. So what I want to do, move over these carts. You just click them and move them over there. That's the way we do it. And then we see there's still space for one more. So we also order one more. Now, no carpenter yet because we have to get the guy in. But that's for later business. Because now we have some industries going. And we know this one is using iron. And we are bound to run out of iron at some point. And without iron, we can't make nails. Without nails, we can't build housing. And that will completely grind our village to a halt. Now, luckily, there's a solution, and that is trading. We're going to need a trading post. But if you take a close look at the trading post, we need almost 500 nails to build the trading post. If you don't build the trading post in time, and you run out of nails required to build it, which can happen if you build a couple more houses, we have a serious problem because we basically have to quit the game. Because there's no way you're going to get any iron in. There's no way that you can build whatever you need. So we need to build this early on. So we have to get the trading post going. You can also see it's quite a large building. It's highly affected by uneven terrain. So we might need to find a nice spot where it can be supplied from our industry, which is a nice thing. And where it can actually do a good job. Now, if we put it up here, we see that we have a lot of trees that need removal. So that might not be the best because our carpenter will be very busy with that. So up here is now not a good idea. If we place it somewhere here, there's still these structures in the way. So we have to find another spot where we can actually build it and make good use of it. Now, I don't mind building it somewhere here. I just don't know if it will fit. Oh, it does. So we'll keep this corner from for the actual building. Maybe we can do it something like this. Probably be affected by the uneven terrain. Yes, it is. Let's see. Can we do this in a nice way? No. All right, let's rotate it until we can actually build it. So it looks nice. This way we can actually build it. So that could be interesting. And we'll place it right there and we'll get this going. There we are. Now, another thing I want to show you is, of course, that you can now decorate these areas up. So, for instance, we have some fencing here. We also have this place up now. So if I want to make this look like this is actually a real industry area, we can just continue the fencing here. Of course, we leave the entrances open here so that everybody else can get in here. And we can basically just fence this off as we please. Now, you'll see that this won't be a good idea because then they can't enter this building from there. But what we could do is something like this. Now we have this area kind of fenced off. It's almost like this is one of the houses here, but instead it is the trading post that we are going to build now. Now this will take some time, but that is okay. Now if we take a look at what we have right now, we have a basic village, we have all the housing we need, we can even build an extra house if we want to. We're getting a trading post up to trade for everything that we need. So all we need to focus on now is how to get extra people in. Well, we don't have extra people yet, and that has a reason. If you go to the people tab here, you will see migration status down there. And if I click it, we can see it right here. Migration is allowed. We can disallow it if we want to in our town hall, but we don't do that yet. Water supply is sufficient. That's true. We have enough water, but we have no market. We have no house available. We do have enough jobs available. That's good. No entertainment buildings required at this point, so we don't need to provide any entertainment yet. And no religious buildings required at this point, so we don't have to get a church or something like that yet. But we have 2 red items, and we have to fix that. If we don't do that, no immigrant will come in. Even if you have 100 houses available, that is not going to work. So we have to make sure that we get a market, and we have to make sure that we have housing available. Well, the house is there already. Let's focus on building a market. Now, the market is pretty easy. You just build a market stall somewhere and it allows to sell up to 4 goods to citizens. Now, since all the houses are here, it might be a good idea to build the market somewhere here too. So let's see if we can find a nice spot to build a marketplace. A good thing to keep in mind is as soon as this storage is empty, it will be removed. It will be gone. This is now the camp center, but if we build a town hall, this item will also be removed. This one is empty now, so we can just delete it, so that's gone. We can also delete all of this, so we will have a lot of space here at some point, just not right now. But it can be nice to keep the campfire, for instance, and I'm actually going to do that. So I just built the marketplace right here. Now we have the market stall. How does this work? Well, we have to put items in there to be sold. We have to put a worker in here that sells the items and also collects them and brings them in so that they can be sold. And then we have a working marketplace. What does it say here now? It says not enough food for sale. So we actually have to start selling some food. But we're not producing any food, so how are we going to do that? Well, we are producing a lot of food, it's just in these buildings. If we take a look at this now and take this one for instance, we can see they now have 735 onions in here, 481 beetroot, 394 cucumbers and 310 cabbage. They don't need all that. One male and one female will each eat somewhere around 1,000 food. Can be a bit higher, can be a bit lower, but that's all they're going to eat. So we have to just take this food out and sell it. Now, if you put it in the marketplace, you can do that, like cabbage and onions. That will not get in there yet. And that has a good reason, because the marketplace can't buy it from the people. We need another building for that. And that is where the granary comes in. The granary is where we store all of our food. And that's also the place that can buy stuff from the locals. So we need one to get our town going. So I'm going to try and set one up somewhere. Probably not be the nicest spot, but okay. So we'll set one up right here. As soon as we have that granary up, we will be able to get enough food. We can buy it from the locals, then we can sell it in the marketplace, and we'll all be good. Now, a good thing to do in the marketplace is sell it to only hire ladies, because right now all we have available are a couple of ladies. So let's put a worker in here. It won't do anything yet, so if you have a need for laborers, take her out. Get her to do something else. But for now, this is fine. She can just be in there. And we'll just have to wait now for the trading post to be ready and for the granary to be ready. And once those are ready, we will continue with this little guide. And as we get back, the trading post is almost done. Now, we don't have to put anybody in there yet because we're not going to trade right now, but at least it's done and we can trade for some stuff when we need to. We can see we have only a limited amount of iron left. Now, if you want to get trading, you need to hit the manager button. So you get a manager. That has to be somebody with an education, and we need workers in there, at least one, so that they can load and unload the carts that will deliver goods. But that's for later. I will talk about the trader later. For now, all we need is to get the granary up and running, and we can start to make sure that the whole town can feed itself and that we can get everything into green for the migration. And that, of course, is quite an important feat. So let's see if we can actually manage to pull that off. I think we can. There comes the granary. Look at that. Look at all those details. If you zoom in, you can actually hear them hit the buttons and hit the nails and stuff. So that's really good. I like that. There it comes. All the poles. Now there's one worker. There's some people are taking a rest. But hey, there's another one coming in to build. And after some of them have taken a rest, they will come in again. So that's great. Here they come. They will now be finishing the granary. And as soon as that is done, all will be fine. Let's slow down the game. So we now have a granary, and now we have to set this up. Now we've set this up for a certain amount of goods: cabbage, onions, cucumbers, and beetroot. So what I will try to do is set these slots automatically. You can set the resource slot automatically to buy from the locals, or we can copy the list from another granary. Well, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put a lady in here, and I'm going to tell her to get the cabbage and the beetroot and the cucumbers and the onions. We have to set a limit for it. I'm going to set it to 500 each. That's probably the best way to go with this. So now we can store 500 each in that granary if we want to. And all we have to do now is hit the buy from the locals button. And as soon as we hit that and there is a worker present, people will come in and start to sell these to the granary. Now we're going to speed up a bit more. And then you'll see as soon as the goods arrive in the granary and they're taking them, that the lady that works here will start to collect these as well. And as soon as these are in the market, we can see these beetroots are now in the market. This will change, and now it says enough food for sale. If we click right here, there's enough food for sale. There's just no housing available. So all we need to do now is make sure that this house gets done. And when this house is done, we can actually receive our first immigrants. Now, if you remember from the start of this game, we started on the 1st of March. So basically we are playing now for a little over a year. We've set up a basic town. We have all the requirements almost met for the immigration to start. So once this house is ready, our town will actually start to grow. And all we have to do is plan out a couple of more houses. And that way we will get a really nice town soon. So let's build 2 more for now. We will get a really nice town and we can start to actually develop this town. And I think with all of this done in the first year, you are almost like 80% there to starting a successful town. There are a couple of things we need to do to ensure people won't get mad and leave your town, but we'll get to that in the next beginner's guide, where we'll dive into a lot of the production change, where we're going to talk about transportation and stuff like that. But these are just the basics of the game. You build a nice town the way you want to do it, but there are a couple of infrastructure things you need, a couple of industries you need to make sure that in the long run you will survive. So I hope this guide was really helpful for you and helped you to get started with the game, to understand some of the mechanics about the game. If you missed some things, please feel free to add them in the comment section. And of course, if you want to just respond to this video, give me some feedback on it, let me know. I will respond to it. I read everything and I try to respond to everything. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. That helps me in the YouTube algorithms. If you want to see more of this and get notified when I upload new videos, please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon so you get a notify. I also do a lot of streaming, so you can always pop in there, watch me stream different games, also Ostriv, and there's always a nice community there where we can chat. I'm just going to say thank you so much for watching. I hope this really enjoyed, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye bye!